Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Movie Mortis, where Movie Madness lives. This is our podcast. I am Nick.
And I'm Drew.
I almost made a mistake and said my name is Drew, but that luckily I caught myself. But anyways, today's movie is Black Hawk Down, the 2001 movie directed by Ridley Scott. Drew, this is a personal favorite of yours, so I'll let you have the floor.
All right, where do you want me to start?
Just kind of give us what the synopsis is, and then we'll go to our general thoughts.
Okay, so Black Hawk Down is a 2001 war movie directed by Ridley Scott. It tells the story of the Battle of Mogadishu, which took place on October 3rd, 1993. It was between Task Force Delta, which consisted of mostly American soldiers, U.S. Army Rangers, and U.S. Delta Force, um, against a Somali warlord and a bunch of Somalis.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
so what happened was, to get more specific, the U.S. forces went into Mogadishu for a what was supposed to be a quick 30-minute mission where they took over a building, grabbed a few people of importance, high-profile targets, high-value targets, whatever the acronym you want to use. Um, they got them, put them in Humvees and get out, be home within the whole thing was supposed to last about 30 minutes. But in the course of this whole thing, two Black Hawk helicopters were shot down in the city, and all hell broke loose essentially.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, this is a true story, and many people refer to Operation Gothic Serpent as the Black Hawk Down incident.
Yep.
All right, I guess I'll go to my general thoughts. This was an intense movie,
Oh yeah.
very intense movie. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool, but man, they, I feel like I should have saw this on the big screen. Like, I'm just gonna get it out of the way. The freaking mise en scene, like, just very gritty, like very dark, deserty, gritty. Like, if you look at the poster for that movie, that poster tells you everything about Black Hawk Down. Like, it's dark, gritty. You see someone either like coming back from war or like going into war, and he's on a helicopter because Black Hawk, and like like the whole thing is just it's just again gritty and brutal. Like everything is so tense. The soldiers are under so much pressure. They're fighting for their lives, and that's the feeling I get from that movie. Just like gritty, dirty, messy war.
That's actually something that, according to a lot of the people who were involved in this incident and survived,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's one of to my knowledge, that is something that they've actually praised about this movie is the combat scenes
Oh yeah.
because of how intense they are and because of how like dirty and gritty it is. And it's like it's shot in a way to where it really puts the viewer right into the ferocity and the chaos of combat, which,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's very hard to do. And look, I've never been in combat. Neither of us have ever been in combat. We've never served in the military. And, combat in war is something that no sane person should ever like want to experience that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Black Hawk Down, I think, does a good job of as good as a movie can be, can as good of a job as a movie can do in terms of putting the viewer right in the action. And I agree with you, Nick. I wish I would have been born earlier so I can see this on the big screen.
Maybe they can do an anniversary screening, or rent out a theater and just play Black Hawk Down from a projector. But.
Yeah, I know Regal Cinemas occasionally will do like classic movie showings on the big screen. I think I talked about this last week with Creepshow, where they'll do that in October, where they play classic horror movies for a day. Like
Hmm.
each day is a new classic horror movie. But I
Yeah.
know in other parts of the year they'll occasionally do something for like a classic movie. You'll see that on a big screen, and I hope one day they do Black Hawk Down because I would love to see it on the big screen.
Oh yeah, that'd be same. Because Black Hawk Down, I feel like is definitely one of those. The spectacle is so good. It's like watching it on a regular TV or a phone. Just doesn't do it justice. Honestly, like
Why
it
the
is a
fuck would you
visual.
watch a movie on your phone?
You're on an airplane. You're on an airplane.
Okay, okay, okay. Well,
It's like
still, probably.
calm down, David Lynch. Calm down, David Lynch. Calm down.
I mean, even I was watching this movie last night on my 4K TV, and I have the viewers. I know you can't see this, but I'm holding the 2019 4K Blu-ray release of Black Hawk Down. Um, and even watching it on my 4K TV, it's like it does a good job. It's really, again, it's very effective, but it's like, man, seeing it on the big screen with the surround sound system and
Mhm.
everything would be great. Although I do have a sound bar I got a couple years ago that I still haven't opened yet, and when I finally get around to opening it, maybe Black Hawk Down would be a good sort of testing movie to test the
Heck yeah.
sound.
Heck to the
Ah.
yes.
So I wanted to talk about Nick. We were talking about
Hmm.
before we started recording
Yeah.
that I have a bit of a story of how I first heard of this movie.
Hmm.
So, for every movie we cover on this podcast, I like to kind of cover my history with this particular movie, and with this being one of my favorite movies. I don't know if this is a hot take, but this to me, Black Hawk Down is like my favorite war movie. It's up there with Saving Private Ryan and a bunch of other ones. Um, the first time I ever really heard of Black Hawk Down was for those of you that are probably around me and Nick's age, maybe a little older. There was a trend on YouTube back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, before YouTube's copyright system got totally out of
Hmm.
control. Um, there was a trend of people taking footage from movies and editing them to popular songs
Hmm.
and making unofficial music videos
Oh
out
yeah.
of them.
And
And so one of them that I saw way back in the day. So when I was in middle school and in high school, I was a big fan of, and I'm still am a huge fan of the band Avenged Sevenfold, and they have a song called MIA, which is about war. They have a couple songs about war, but MIA is probably my personal favorite of that. And so I found a video on YouTube of Black Hawk Down footage edited to the song, and it was interesting to me because that very much appealed to me because I just found it on YouTube randomly. And when I was in middle school and high school, I was a big fan of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare games. I was a big fan of the Call of Duty series in general, but especially the Modern Warfare games, which by the way are pretty heavily influenced, especially COD 4, are heavily influenced by Black Hawk Down. And so I was always kind of like, oh, what movie is this? What movie is this? And then sometime I went into my dad's room, which is just adjacent to mine, and he has a whole bunch of DVDs in the shelf that used to be under his TV that his TV would sit on, and there was a drawer that had a bunch of DVDs. Um, and one of the movies there was Black Hawk Down. So
mm,
one day when because my parents, it was weird. I was always allowed to play Call of Duty and Battlefield, all these like M-rated war games, but yet they would not let me watch R-rated movies. It was a bit weird. Um, but anyways, one day, one weekend, one Saturday when my parents, I believe they went to San Francisco for the day. They would do that occasionally where they go to San Francisco for the day. I live like 40 minutes out from east of San Francisco. So they would go to San Francisco for the day. They go to the Pier or whatever. And so one day I saw this movie, Black Hawk Down, was in my dad's DVD collection. So I took it into my room while they weren't home and watched it. And I was just enthralled. Like I was like, this movie is so fucking good. It's actually the first Ridley Scott movie I ever saw, actually.
oh nice.
So. yeah, that's kind of my background in this movie. And it's been one of my favorite. It's my favorite war movie, and it's one of my favorite movies just in general.
Period.
It's just so good.
Yeah, that's cool. Sorry, when you mentioned like back in the early like 2010s, late 2000s, like this is before YouTube Shorts where people just made like funk edits or just random short edits where they don't take the whole song. So I'm just thinking to myself like that's like prime gaming music video or anime music video timeline right there. Like those were edits across all mediums, honestly. So
Oh yeah, I mean, this is back when this was back when this isn't really the same thing, but this was back when machinima was everywhere. So
yeah,
it's like you had series like Red versus Blue and some of the other ones.
Gmod Idiot
Um,
Box.
yeah. But anyways, so yeah, that's my history with Black Hawk Down, and so as we kind of alluded to earlier, this movie is based on a true event,
Mm-hmm.
and so
So
to what?
no, I said so because you
Oh,
paused, so I didn't want to
so
create an awkward silence.
yeah, so um, I feel like because we did kind of talk about it earlier, but I feel like since this movie is based on a true story, we should probably talk about a little bit about what actually happened.
Hmm.
And do you want do you want to just front load all the real stuff, or do you want to just kind of talk about it as we talk about the movie?
Let's
Because
kind of
there's a
talk
lot
about
of
it as we
different things.
let's talk about it as we talk about the movie.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
I mean, I feel like having a historical segment could be its own thing because I still have some things to say about the movie other than just like the visual and spectacle. Like I do have a criticism of the movie. I do have a personal criticism.
Let's
I
hear
could
it.
not I could not tell the characters apart. Like they all look the same. I had a hard time telling who was who. I knew there was a guy named Blackburn, and that's it. Like I could, aside from maybe the old general, the guy who's like giving the orders from like the desk, I could not really tell who the characters were. Did I still care for them? Yes, because that shit's tense. Did I did I hate them? No, no, they're all pretty well rounded, but I just couldn't tell who was who. I'm like, okay, we're at this guy, we're at the two ground people, we're at the freaking rescue squad, we're at the other Black Hawk that goes down later on. Just like, who are these guys? Bob, Joe, Billy? I couldn't tell who they were, and it doesn't help that the fact they look all the same too. Which I didn't think, oh Nick, that's just the military. Like yeah, even in other war movies though, soldiers still stood out. Like I could tell Private Joker apart from Private Pile amongst the other soldiers. And the same goes for one of my personal favorite movies, Fury. I could tell the soldiers apart.
Well, for one, I think for one, when I first saw this movie for the first time, I actually would agree with you. If you told me that after the first time I'd watched it, I would have agreed with you. But I think for me, I've seen this movie so many times, I probably just know everybody.
Oh,
But I
lucky
think
you.
that also, yeah, but that also, it's also in a lot of those other movies you just mentioned, the actors don't all have the exact same haircut. So
That's true. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning of Full Metal Jacket, they do, but
that's only at
like,
the beginning, though. That's only at the
yeah.
beginning, though. And even some of the other guys, like in Full Metal Jacket, like Joker, he has the glasses where you can identify him.
Right. Yeah.
So, or even some distinct like body features or something.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, even with like, I don't know if it's because I recognize. I mean, because again, you mentioned before, they have like a huge ensemble cast. You got Ewan McGregor, Sam Shepard, um,
Eric Bana,
Eric Bana. You
um,
got freaking Tom's.
William Fickner, um, Josh Hartnett as well.
Yeah.
He's actually the one guy. Actually, I can actually like when I first watched this movie. He's like the one guy I can actually fully identify.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You also got Orlando Bloom, aka Legolas from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so that was a shock. But even then, with this whole all star cast, I still could not recognize anybody. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
dude. You want something funny? So I was watching some before we recorded this podcast. I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff
Mm-hmm.
on that's on the 4K Blu-ray,
Uh huh.
and I totally forgot Orlando Bloom was in the movie until he popped up in that one documentary that was about behind the scenes.
That's
I
crazy.
was like, "Holy shit, that's fucking Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean! Holy shit!"
Yeah.
And I totally didn't know.
Oh, we should cover the Pirates of the Caribbean movies one day. But anyways, uh, but yeah, like the cast does a great job. I even though I could not recognize them, the cast does a great job.
Yeah, they're all great. And by the way, another I kind of mentioned to you earlier that the Call of Duty Modern Warfare series was heavily influenced by this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know William Fichtner, who played one of the Delta Force operators in this movie, he
Yeah.
plays Sanderson, played the trying to remember what the guy's name was. Sandman. He played Sandman in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
No freaking way.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That is super cool.
Yeah.
Sandman
Go
from
go go
Middle
back and
Zero Four.
go back and play some of those Delta Force missions in Modern Warfare 3. That's him.
Honestly, I've been thinking about replaying the entire Modern Warfare trilogy. That or just watch a playthrough of it because, like, as good as the games are, I heard the multiplayers aren't as good nowadays, especially if people hacking the games, or they fix that. I don't know.
Well, I'm mostly talking about the single player campaign. And
I
I think William Fichtner might have been the voice of the Delta Force faction in multiplayer, but I don't
sweet.
remember in Modern
Yeah,
Warfare 3.
yeah. I've been thinking about replaying those campaign missions.
But
But back to
back
Black
to the
Hawk
movie.
Down. Um. So so
Oh, by the way, so on the topic of all the people looking the same, I guess we should probably get into this is one of the real world. This is more of a behind the scenes thing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But all the actors, to varying degrees, went through a boot camp before shooting this movie.
I heard of
Um,
that.
they all went for like a week of boot camp. They didn't like fully enlist in the army or anything, but they did. Go through a week of boot camp. I think all the actors who were playing the Rangers, the U.S. Army Rangers, went attended a week of boot camp at Fort Benning, which is where the Rangers in real life actually train. And the Delta Force guys went to, I want to say it was Fort Bragg, to do a week of quote unquote boot camp. I say quote unquote boot camp because according to both William Fichtner and Eric Bana, all they did was blow stuff up and shoot guns.
That's crazy.
All
That
they
is.
did was blow stuff up, learn how to shoot guns, learn how to clear rooms. Meanwhile, all the actors playing Army Rangers had to sleep on the ground and do all the all the boot camp stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And dude, it's funny. And what's interesting is that I think that kind of dynamic is somewhat, especially early on, is kind of evident in the movie because you see in the movie at the beginning, all the Delta Force guys are like very, Captain Steel kind of is like, you guys are a bunch of undisciplined cowboys because
Oh.
they're out there doing stuff, they're customizing their weapons, they're
Hmm.
fucking cutting in line at the chow line, they're doing all these things.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have the Rangers who are very disciplined, very you know very
Hmm.
all that stuff, and I think
Yeah.
that sort of dynamic, I guess, existed both behind the scenes and in the movie as well. So
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I can definitely see that. Yeah. It's funny too. Is at the beginning of the movie, aside from like the scenes in Somali, where like you have soldiers like trying to like figure out how to get rid of a famine but decide not to engage because of the rules of engagement and whatnot. Like when you're
yeah.
at like the base and everything, you see the soldiers just like having a good time, teasing each other,
Hmm.
cutting in chow lines. Like it's that's like that warm comfort feeling you get before going out in the war. It's like when they actually go out there and the after trying to capture the prisoners and then the Black Hawk Down goes down, no pun intended. Um, uh, that's when like that comfort is gone. Like you're now fighting, son. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really cool. This is a really cool thing. I got on my second watch. I watched this movie twice, by the way. So, and even then, I still couldn't tell
I,
who was who. But
well,
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
I've seen this movie way more than twice.
I'm not gonna keep bragging the movie on up for that. By the way, unlike me abusing and I've done so many. I've run so many jokes into the ground on various episodes. But I swear, viewers, Andrew, I will not. I will not. I will not keep shitting on the movie because I can't recognize anybody. Which is funny because like I know going back to Full Metal Jacket, like the one of the opening scenes where everyone's getting their buzz cut, like was supposed to show like how because it was a critique of the army, like showing how soldiers
Mhm.
are all conformity or now. Whereas Black Hawk Down, I'm going somewhere with this. Black Hawk Down, has like a sense of camaraderie. Like it's showing, it's not really glorifying war. It's more or less trying to showcase like all the struggle that soldiers go through, regardless of what they do or who they're fighting for. Like they're pulling each other up. It's like they keep repeating throughout the movie. No one gets left behind, and it's even the tagline of the movie. No one gets left
Exactly.
behind.
That's the tagline of the movie. That I'm pretty sure that's even part of, so again, something, again, going back to those documentaries I watched, in real life, that's part of the U.S. Army Ranger Creed, is no comrade gets left behind.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they recite that every morning, according to one of the documentaries I watched. In real
Dang,
life, the U.S. Army Rangers recite their creed every morning, and
dang.
so one part of the creed is no comrade gets left behind.
Uh,
And so, but I think that plays into what you're saying, where it's like that's kind of the main theme of this movie is
yeah, it's
camaraderie.
camaraderie.
It's about brotherhood. It's
Yeah.
about um, it's about you leaning on each other in a fight for survival. Because once the combat starts, it's like there's even Hoot, Eric Bana's character, when him and Josh Hartnett's character Eversman are talking before they go out. Eversman kind of leads into he looks at Hoot and he goes, do you think we should be here? And Eric Bana is like, it doesn't matter what I think. Once the first bullet flies past your head, all politics and all that shit goes right out the window. And it's like
Exactly.
that's exactly the feeling you get from this movie, because like once the combat starts, it's almost like you forget like why we're even there, or any of that, why the soldiers are there,
Yeah.
because they accomplish their objective relatively early, because like they get the prisoners pretty quickly, they get them loaded into the Humvees
Mm-hmm.
before either of the Blackhawks get shot down.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like once the Blackhawks get shot down, it's like that becomes the main priority. That becomes what the viewers focus on. That becomes the point of the movie,
Oh yeah.
because it's all about making sure no one gets left behind, as we're
Mm-hmm.
probably going to repeat 1,000 times in this podcast. 'Cause that's the main point of
Exactly.
this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, it's like even like by the time I would say he gets to that point where the first Blackhawk gets shot down, you completely forget about the initial mission,
Oh yeah. I mean,
because
I almost forgot why they were here the first time I watched this.
exactly, and it becomes almost a survival movie almost.
It
It,
does feel
it's
like a
it's
survival movie.
it's all about just surviving and make sure your guys get home safe.
Mm-hmm. No one gets left behind.
Hmm.
Yeah, and even then, like they mentioned, like the injured and wounded, and even the fatally dead. Like, cause like one of the scenes that I remember, like there's a lot of brutal deaths in it. Like this one stands out where the guy just like his whole like lower torso, it's like blown off, but
Hmm.
they still try to get him.
Yeah, yeah. And there's even that one scene where that the driver of that one Humvee gets impaled by the RPG. You remember that?
Ooh, yeah,
That's why it's
yeah, I
like,
remember
I
that.
know this is something that we can probably make a whole other podcast about, but I don't think that Black Hawk Down in any way is glorifying war or doing anything like that. It's
I don't
it's
believe that either.
Yeah, I don't think, because there's a lot of people that think Black Hawk Down is a totally pro-war, jingoistic type movie. I don't really see it, because like to me, it's like this doesn't make me want to go to war.
No, it
Makes me
doesn't
want
make
to
me want to go to war at all. I
makes
do
me want to stay
know.
home.
Yeah, exactly. Like, thank you, soldiers, for letting me exercise my freedom to stay home, play video
Hmm.
games, play guitar, do this podcast, watch movies, etc.
Hmm.
Which, by the way, 20 U.S. Army members, whether you be serving or serving for, thank you for your service. I genuinely mean that. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, we probably should have mentioned that top list. We're recording this the day after Memorial Day,
Yeah,
so.
this is yeah, happy belated Memorial Day, and once again, thank you for your service. Like, I mean, I'm not even kidding. Thank you, soldiers, for doing your job.
Hmm.
Anyways, but one thing I know, I actually did read like some of the reviews and legacy reviews. Where I know Roger Ebert, when he was, because he was alive back when this movie came out, he said that this makes audiences sympathize with the U.S. Army more.
Hmm. Did
And
did he
and
say
not
did he say that as like a critique or as a
no he gave it a 4 out of 4 stars.
ah
Yeah,
Roger Ebert has good
he
taste.
actually gave it praise to the movie, and I know Ebert can be a jerk sometimes. That
Oh
dude
yeah.
hates Treasure Planet. Anyways, and I think I forgot who it was, but some literary scholar, some kind of like media analysis scholar said that some people supported the war on terror because of movies like Black Hawk Down, like not glorifying war, but just like this if this is what we have to go through to keep our country safe, dude. That's a do you agree with that sentiment or no?
It's a bit of a complicated one because it's like, I mean, for me, because I once heard from, are any of you familiar with the YouTube channel 100 Years of Cinema? They're not really active anymore, but they used to be.
Hmm. Yeah. It sounds familiar. Sounds familiar.
Okay, so, well, he did a video about All Quiet on the Western Front years ago. And so he kind of got into a bit of a discussion about the morality of war films.
Hmm.
And he made a point that whether or not you view a film as pro or anti war depends almost entirely on how you personally feel about war. And so he actually listed that Black Hawk Down as one of his pro war films, which I disagree with.
Yeah.
But um, for me, it's like I'm very anti-war. Like I don't
Yeah.
think we should get as an American. Like I don't think we should get involved in a war unless we have something to gain or lose.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Likewise.
yeah, and so like I tend to view most movies that I see, most war movies that I see, as anti-war, and Black Hawk Down is no exception. Um,
I'm in the same boat, honestly. I'm in the same boat. Like, even one of my, again, I would like to talk about this one in a separate episode, but my favorite war movie, Fury, I think is
mhm.
anti-war.
I haven't seen Fury, so I can't comment on that. Um, but that's kind of I kind of want to get that sort of out there to show
Yeah,
everybody where my headspace is
we're
in
we're.
terms
Sorry, you first.
in terms of like judging depictions of war.
Mhm.
Um, and again, there's a lot of like that scene when the guy gets cut in half
Oh.
gets blown in half by an RPG. It's
Mhm.
like I genuinely don't know how you can see things like that and think this movie is pro-war.
Exactly. Like that is not pro-war. That move, like, when I see like the guy like getting his eyes like freaking ruin my glass, I don't think, oh, time to go join the army. No, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that shit. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't. I'm sorry. Like that is like and another thing too. When you mentioned anti-war, like there's a scene that I remember on my second watch where it's like one of the soldiers, the American soldiers, is trying to hide from Somalis, and he hides in a civilian home where civilians are crowded. And he whispers shh. So he stands by the door. The Somali shoots the door and runs off. So he sneaks outside, but right as he goes outside, a Somali child soldier tries to shoot him, but he misses and hits one of his own members. And he goes crying up to him. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's anti-war. Like, how
I
can you
mean,
look at that and go like, let's go
there's literally depictions of child soldiers in this movie.
exactly?
It's like in that very scene that you just mentioned, and you
Yeah,
know, and again,
that's a
this whole thing about movies being pro or anti-war is probably something we can do an entirely independent podcast episode on. Um,
oh, absolutely.
but yeah, I don't think here's the way I'll sum up Black Hawk Down. It's not pro war, but it's pro people who fight the war,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
it's pro army, but not pro war. And again, I still
Exactly.
once again I cannot stress it enough. I respect and support all of our troops serving or have served because again, y'all fought so much, and I'm not saying it just because like I just saw this movie and now I know how it feels. Like I've had family in the military. I've had family in the
As have
military,
I.
and I know like they've done their part, and I'm not war material. I cannot go to war myself,
Yeah,
but
same here. I mean, but here's the thing for me, it's like I have it's more on my mom's side, but I've had two people on my mom's side who have served in the military. They both served in Korea.
hmm,
So this was like back in like the 50s.
I see.
Um, So I even have I have my grandfather's service flag in my house actually.
Oh,
So
God bless them.
yeah, so I do come from a military supporting family.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and so but again, that doesn't mean any of us are pro war or pro
Oh,
like hell yeah, let's go
absolutely.
to war.
No.
Um
Yeah.
but anyways, to kind of get off of that, kind of go back into this movie a little bit. Um something that some this is a more of a technical aspect I would like to talk about, but I actually the color grading of this movie kind of stuck out to me because it has that very like 2000s sort of feel to it, but at the
Yeah.
same time all the colors stick out.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
has it has a very like cinematic feel, like you can
Hmm.
um all the colors stick out, and the color
Hmm.
palette, despite it being very like, for lack of a better term, desert-y, it has a lot of similar color tones, but still all the colors like stick out, even if the color palette itself isn't super like varied.
Yeah.
So, good job, color grader
Yeah. Like,
or
I
editor,
think this. I
whoever
think this one.
whoever it is that does the color grading. Good job.
This actually won 2 Academy Awards for. It won Best Film Editing and Best Sound. So yeah, Black Hawk Down won.
Well
It won
deserved.
Best. It was
Well deserved.
Ridley Scott did get nominated for. He got nominated for Best Director, but he lost to who did he lose Best Directing to? I think it might have been Peter Jackson, but it might have not been. No, Ron Howard, A Beautiful Mind. Yeah, yeah. He lost to Ron Howard.
All right. So, Nick, I
Mm-hmm.
got a question to ask you.
Let's hear it.
What this is going to sound like a bad question, but
Hit me.
what
Don't.
was the most effective combat sequence in Black Hawk Down?
Okay, that's a tough one because like, what do you mean effective?
What aside from the gory parts, what moments stuck out to you? Because
Probably.
there's a lot of combat in this movie, but what
Oh yeah,
combat
the one that
sequence
sticks
stuck out
out to
to
me is the one where the second Blackhawk goes down, and the pilot is being rescued by the other two people. Where he goes like, "Where's the rescue team? We're it." And then you got all these Somalis going after them, and they're just putting up a last stand. They're emptying their ammo. They're fighting for their life. They move the injured pilot over to like a little corner where he can like shoot the Somalis just trying to sneak up on him. Like, and then you want to believe they can do this. They can hold out.
you? Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
and I want you to correct me later on based on historical facts, but the movie
Mhm.
itself, like first one guy gets shot, then he tries to go up to save his friend, but he gets shot again, goes down fighting, and you can see like the
Mhm.
Somalis uh raid the freaking
Helicopter.
helicopter, and even the injured pilot. I actually know
Mhm.
his name. Like I was actually trying to read his Wikipedia article because
Michael Durant is the guy's name.
Michael Durant. Michael Durant is just he's like in that corner tucked away.
Hmm.
He realizes like we lost. I hope they don't find me.
Yeah.
But he gets found out. And he knows he might get found. But the last thing he sees that is photo of his wife and child. And so they knock him out. And he's trying to reach for that photo. But then the war journal comes saying, "We claim this prisoner alive." Like that
Hmm.
probably stood out to me the whole movie. Like I don't want to. I don't know if that's the definition of a last stand in a movie, but that
Hmm.
scene sticks out because it's just like they're not they're not gonna make it. Two guys with the rescue team, but no man gets
And
left
keep in
behind.
mind,
We got it.
and keep in mind, both of those guys, were snipers. They were in the helicopters not as ground infantry, but as snipers to provide overwatch.
Hmm.
And so,
The two people trying to rescue Michael
yeah.
Durant, right?
Hmm.
Dang.
And so, I do want to talk about them because those are two real people. What you saw happened. And
Hmm.
so the two guys are Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart. Um, And so pretty much everything that you see in the movie happened. They made a last stand to try to save their buddy, to save Michael Durant. Unfortunately, they died. Unfortunately, and the Somalis unfortunately did pretty bad things with their bodies afterwards, as you see in the
Mm.
movie. In fact, all that footage of them doing things to all the corpses of the American soldiers was aired on CNN the next day after this battle. Um, yeah, it's a whole thing I can go into, but I won't because it will get bogged down.
Yeah.
But Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart were both posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor for their actions.
Rest in peace, guys.
Yeah,
God bless you. Yeah, but I think that's just a hard note. Like, did that actually happen? Were they really? Did they really go down fighting, trying to protect Michael Durant for the rescue team to arrive, only for them to be shot down and Michael Durant captured?
hmm
Fuck. Like,
and so
cause
I really love that exchange between them and General Garrison, Sam Shepard's character,
mhm.
because I like how the helicopter pilot is like, hey, these guys request permission to go land and set up a perimeter, and Garrison's like, let me talk to him, and they patch him into the radio, and they're like, and he's like, okay, look, I want you to explain to me exactly what you want, so that way I know it, so that way you know what it is that you're asking for. And then they go, we're asking to go in there, set up a perimeter until ground support arrives. And Garrison just goes, I cannot tell you when that'll be. It could be quite a while. And do you still want to go in there? And he goes, and without hesitation he goes, yes sir. And he's like, all right, you know.
yeah, just like the more I think about that scene, the more like that freaking like that was like a suicide mission in hindsight, you know?
I mean, I think even like that's
Like
what they think.
not the whole Operation
Yeah.
Gothic, but just that
hmm
one rescue mission for that set for the second Blackhawk and so the rescue of Michael Durant.
Yeah, but it's what they felt they needed to do.
Hmm.
Sometimes in situations of war, sometimes just you have to sort of follow your conscience.
That's
Sometimes, like,
true.
what do you think is the right thing to do? I mean, you have to think, and might be kind of a
Hmm.
grim question, but if for whatever reason we were end up in that situation, how would you respond?
No
If you
man
saw
gets
that
left behind.
if you saw that you were the only person, because you have to remember the Durant crash site is come from a completely it was a completely different area from where
Yeah.
the first crash site was. So the convoy they had to reroute the convoy after that after the second helicopter went down. And the whole thing was just sort of a mess because there were roadblocks everywhere. The Somali militias had set up roadblocks everywhere, and it was a big
Hmm.
mess. And just
Yeah.
trying to you see that in the movie, right? Them trying to reroute everything is just a pain in the ass. And the two Delta snipers, Shugart and Gordon, were like, you know, they were the ones who were could probably the closest to land at the second crash site. So it's like if you
Yeah.
were in that situation and you know your buddy was down there and he was injured and he needed help, and there are thousands of armed Somali militiamen coming to them. It's like, you know, of course, we can't say for certain because it's likely we'll never be in a similar position. But it's like,
Yeah.
you know, these guys, Shearer and Gordon, they've like I kind of just said earlier. It's like they they had to do what they felt was the right thing to do,
Hmm.
and that's what they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad that they included that particular part of the story in this
Oh yeah.
movie.
That story needed to be told. Like it's just I'm glad they did. And again, I wanted them to get out. I didn't know if that part was true or not, but I was hoping to get out. But alas, history kind of told us otherwise.
Yeah, but I really like that whole sequence. The sequence is super well shot. It's well choreographed. The
Hmm.
combat sequences in general in this movie are very well choreographed.
Oh yeah.
They did, they did pretty much all of it practically. Like they had help from the actual U.S. Army. The U.S. Army actually gave them some. Black Hawk helicopters and some pilots from the I think the 160th Aviation Regiment, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. I think that was the actual regiment was called, but they had some pilots from the actual regiment to help them out and pilot the helicopters for the production of this movie.
Nice.
And I think one of the pilots that you see at one point in the movie is actually one of the actual pilots from this particular mission.
Hmm.
I believe the guy's name is Keith Jones. He was, I think he was one of the Little Bird pilots, but but I'm forgetting exactly which one he was, but one of them, that guy, he was actually part of that mission, and he basically reenacts what he did for this movie.
Dang.
I think it was something that he did at the first crash site, I believe. This was like after the first Black Hawk went down. It was one of those Little Bird pilots.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah. So, um, I wanted to bring up another thing too. So, like I said, I think I said before, and this movie, as cool as it is to see this movie to like come to life and try and retell the story of an actual true event, this movie did get criticized for some historical inaccuracies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people did not like the portrayal of Somalis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
because for viewers that don't know, this movie is actually missing a little bit of context. Um, so the text that you see at the beginning of the movie, where it sets up everything, where it says like, "Hey, there was famine going on, warlords in control, all that sort of stuff," and U.S. Marines were sent there to deal with it. They did end the famine because the Marines were there in like 1992 to deal with to basically distribute food, and it was part of this whole UN thing. And then they got withdrew. And there was like a limited UN presence after that. Um, and all it says is in the text is that the Somalis killed like 24 Pakistani soldiers who were working with the UN.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the whole story, though. The whole so to kind of over simplify it a little bit, basically what happened is during the summer of 1993, when the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. came back to start going after Mohammed Farah Adid, who was the main warlord in control. Um, what happened was they conducted a few raids that ended up killing some Somali civilians. And so, one of those raids in particular, one of the documentaries I saw today talked about it. Um, the U.S. wanted to, and the UN wanted to set up a provisional government that would be cooperative with them, and that would actually like. So a lot of Mogadishu was
Mm-hmm.
controlled by various warlords, right? Muhammad Farah Adid being one of them, being the most powerful. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of those other warlords though, were actually pretty were actually willing to cooperate with the UN and with the US.
Huh.
The the issue was Mohammed Farah Adid wasn't, and he was the most powerful. And so there was a time, I think, during the summer of 1993, when um, a bunch of those other warlords tried to gather a meeting with some of Adid's guys to be like, "Hey, we want you to cooperate with us, and all that." Um, and then it was at that meeting when the U.S. decided to do a raid on that particular meeting because some of his top lieutenants were there, and they were thinking, "Hey, maybe Adid himself is there."
Mm-hmm.
Um, Problem is, they did the raid. It was a complete disaster. A bunch of people, bunch of Somali people, including some of elders who were sort of part of this whole thing, were killed. It was a disaster, and the U.S. didn't even really get any of the people that they had come after for.
Hmm.
And so those sort of whole things sort of are the reason why a lot of the Somali citizens who were there, even those that didn't necessarily support Adid,
Mm-hmm.
became hostile to the Americans. and to the UN because began to see them as invaders rather than liberators.
Oh dang.
Although, viewers, I would encourage you to research this for yourself because there's a bit more to it than what I'm kind of just giving the Cliff Notes versions of it. There's more to it
Hmm.
than that, but this is some context that the movie is missing. And so it's like I can
Yeah.
kind of understand why some people be like, "Oh, wow, they're demonizing, the Somali people," you know.
Hmm. Yeah. They also I heard they also got the Mogadishu mile, or did I pronounce it right? The
Mogadishu.
The Mogadishu mile incorrect. So what happened was, so in the movie, all the soldiers had to walk all the way to the stadium, but really they
Hmm.
met up at a rendezvous point and then were carried over to the stadium. Is that
Yeah,
did I get that
yeah,
right?
that's you got that right.
Yeah, that's what happened. But we did get a cool shot of like all the little kids like waving happy to the soldiers who just got back from hell.
Yeah.
So, but either way, like I mean, yeah, the Black Hawk Down took a lot of artistic liberties, compared to what actually happened, and also a lot of, apparently there were some uncredited UN soldiers who, when they were rescuing the Americans, like that was apparently one of the people things that people didn't like, about um
Yeah, they sort of underrepresented a lot of like the Pakistani UN soldiers that were there to help at the end.
hmm,
Um, because they were basically relegated to just being drivers essentially for the armored vehicles, but they
I
did
see.
more. I think even one Pakistani soldier even died during this whole thing.
Dang.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So they had a bit more of an impact compared to what's shown in the movie beyond just being because in the movie they're just shown to be essentially drivers, but they did more than that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I mean, no joke. Without their help, from what it sounds like, without their help, we would have not gotten that many people out of the situation in the first place. So
Yeah.
thanks to all the UN soldiers for helping us out.
Hmm.
What's interesting though, in 2023, there was a Malaysian movie called Malbat Misi Bakari, or Malbat Bakara Mission, and that movie is about the Malaysian military actually rescuing the U.S. Rangers trapped during the Black Hawk Down incident.
Yeah, yeah. There was some Malaysian military presence there too. So,
Yeah, so there's an entire movie about that, the
I mean,
Malaysian army helping.
the whole thing was a multinational thing. It wasn't just America and a handful of UN people. It was a
Mhm.
multinational coalition.
Oh yeah, yeah. But um yeah, that's all I gotta say about Black Hawk Down. It's a very unique, it's a very cool movie, very good movie that tries to showcase the intensities of war, while also trying to retell the true story of the Black Hawk Down incident, albeit with some minor inaccuracies. And um again, my only criticism is I just couldn't tell which character was which. So you just kind of have to, like, how do I say this without sounding awkward or weird, but you just kind of have to go with the movie, just stick with it, and you'll discover an amazing story of how all these soldiers, regardless if you can tell who's who, um, about you witness a story about these soldiers trying to lean on each other and be there for each other in the most dangerous of places and most dangerous situations. And I think Ridley Scott did a great job of capturing the intensity that soldiers are going through, and just makes me respect our troops more often and wish we never ever have to go through another war. And yeah, on Black Hawk Down's pretty good. It does, for some reason, I want to say something about the pacing, but I just can't put my finger on it. There's just, I
Yes,
don't know if it's bad or good.
I wanted to say something about the pacing.
Do tell.
This is why you shouldn't be so quick to start on your closing thoughts. Anyways, so I feel like because I was watching this movie last night, and I feel like when when the soldiers when the Rangers and the Delta Force get to the end, right?
Uh-huh.
When at the end of the movie, I think you're supposed to feel, because the pacing can definitely feel like once the combat starts, the pacing can definitely feel somewhat overwhelming. But I
Uh-huh.
kind of feel like that's the point. I think you're supposed to get to the end of the movie feeling just as exhausted as the soldiers are.
Mm.
Like, because think about it, for however long it was, 12, 13 hours, however long the soldiers were there in combat, it's
Mm-hmm.
like they were in combat for like 12, 13 straight hours in the actual thing and in the story. So it's like I feel like you're supposed to feel very it's supposed to be kind of exhausting to watch after a while because that's how combat is. It's exhausting, it's demoralizing,
Mm-hmm.
it's you know, it's often very fast. Things go at a million miles a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, by the end of the movie, I did feel like I was just kind of relieved that it's over. They got out of there.
Exactly. Kind of like how we said earlier. It's like at a certain point, it basically becomes a movie about survival more than whatever the initial mission objective was.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I really don't have much to say about the pacing. Like, I thought it was in hindsight, I thought it was evenly fine for the most part. Like, I didn't know. I feel like there's just only maybe a few points at the beginning, like at the military base, but that's just about it, really. But other than that, again, only Christmas, I just couldn't tell who was who, and still think Black Hawk Down's a good movie.
so this just came to my mind right now. What did you think of the sound design? Both the score as well as the actual sound design itself, like
Oh, I
the
freaking
sound
loved it. I
effects and
freaking loved the sound design of Black Hawk Down. I
that
loved
all
it.
you have to say?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I can add to it. Like everything felt again, every little sound felt tense. The score was dramatic and just even and just intense. And
By the way, do you know who did the score for this movie?
no, who?
Hans Zimmer.
Mother Trucker, Hans frickin' Zimmer, the
Yeah.
absolute legend.
Yeah, he also did oddly enough, he also did the score, at least the main theme for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the
Yeah.
original
He
one.
also he also did Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk.
He did a
Uh,
whole bunch of Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah, he did the Pirates of the Caribbean series, or
Hmm.
was it the trilogy? Hang on, was it Pirates of the Caribbean, 2006 to 2011? So, yeah, basically the first four movies. Um, yeah, Hans Zimmer is a legend. Did he also do Requiem for a Dream?
I
I
don't know.
all right. Um, I'm just looking up real quick because I know. Okay, no, he did not do Requiem for a Dream. It was it was
Hans Zimmer is a
Oh, it was
very
Clint Mansell. Clint Mansell, not Hans Zimmer. Never mind.
but yeah,
Anyways,
Hans Zimmer is a that dude's a very prolific composer. I will say the main theme for this movie, which is appropriately enough called No One Gets Left Behind," is very it's very somber. But it's also very like hopeful at the same time. So I really like
mm-hmm.
that part of the soundtrack. Um, I think the soundtrack overall is great. It incorporates a lot of Eastern musical elements, which is really
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Puts you right in the setting of Eastern Africa. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
Yeah. 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 I
And
don't really have much else.
what did you think of the scene at the end where Eversman throws the strobe on the roof and then the little birds come and just blow it all to hell. So I thought
That was
particularly the sound design of the miniguns I think really like stood out,
yeah.
at least on my sound system.
Yeah. Not to mention all like the rubble that falls on the various soldiers. Like they may have survived the
Yeah,
explosion, but they're still like pelted with all the rubble falling off.
yeah. And that also brings me. What did you think of the production design?
It was good. I liked it.
Because this movie
Very nice.
was actually shot in Morocco. So
Morocco.
yeah,
Where's that again?
I
Oh,
think it's in Italy.
sorry. I apologize, viewers, for my geographic illiteracy. Oh, Morocco, country and region of North Africa. Oh, okay, okay,
Oh, it's in
interesting.
North Africa. I don't know why I
Yeah.
thought it was in Italy. Uh,
Hooray! I share geographic illiteracy with Drew. Yay! Now, where the hell is Mississippi on the map?
um,
I'm just kidding. I know. I think I know where it is. I know where it is at least.
but yeah, the because I think because from one of those documentaries I watched, that first one, I think the producers were even like, we briefly thought about filming it in Somalia, but that's a no-go zone. So,
Mm. Oh yeah.
in fact, we forgot. I can't believe we forgot to mention this. Did you know that this movie is based on a book?
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't mention this, but yes, I know it was based on a book, but that documented all the events. Black Hawk Down: The Story of Modern Warfare.
Yeah, by Mark Bowden.
Do you have the book?
I do not have the book. Um, but I something. So he was in the documentary I watched. That was about that. It was like it was a History Channel special that's included in on the Blu-ray. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about the true story and everything. He's very prevalent throughout the entire documentary, but he even said he actually went to pretty great lengths for research for this particular book. He even he even himself traveled to Mogadishu, and
Hmm.
even in that documentary I saw, there were interviews with a lot of the Somali militiamen talking about their experiences.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that documentary was fairly balanced in terms of perspectives. It got because it also included testimony from a lot of like the Delta Force people and the Army Rangers who were there. So,
Hmm.
oh, there's also one member of the cast that I forgot to mention who's in other war movies as well. Uh, Tom Sizemore. You know who that is?
No. Who is that? Who's Tom?
He plays McKnight in this movie. He's like the commander of the ground forces, but he was also in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
In fact, a bunch of the cast members in this movie were in war movies before. Um, so Josh Hartnett was in Pearl Harbor, um, and Tom Sizemore was in Saving Private Ryan.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about all the other actors though. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, because I remember on my initial DVD copy, I it actually like on the back of the box it listed the other like war movies that some of these people were in. So,
Interesting.
unfortunately, Tom Sizemore did pass away a few years ago. Unfortunately.
Hmm. Rest in peace. Oh, anything else to say? Because I kind of said my piece on Black Hawk Down. Unless you have some more questions for me.
Well, let me think. I don't know.
Oh boy.
Maybe now that you said that, I'm going to intentionally come up with weird questions,
Oh boy.
just to drag out this podcast a little longer.
I mean, I can drag it out further by saying this was apparently the Fallout New Vegas mod, the New Frontier, was accused of blatantly ripping off Black Hawk Down at one point in one of the missions, and that is a very infamous mod with a whole lot of drama. Like someone even made an entire internet historian adjacent video documenting all the drama that went down during Fallout New Vegas: The Frontier.
Ah, man. Oh,
And apparently, Black Hawk Down is connected to this because it got accused of blatantly ripping it off.
speaking of man, this podcast is taking a wild left turn. But
Well,
speaking
to
of
be fair, you said you wanted to drag it out, so now I'm dragging it out.
so speaking of cultural references, did you know that there's a South Park parody of Black Hawk Down? Did you know that?
Oh, What's it called?
So the episode is called Red Sleigh Down. It's a Christmas special.
Red Sleigh Down.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. 17th
Yep.
episode. What year? What year? 2002, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. I might have to watch this episode now. Is it a good episode?
I think it's a good episode. I think it's a good episode.
That's funny. Red Sleigh Down.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess to put out my closing thoughts now, this movie, Black Hawk Down, is so good. It's my favorite war movie. It's one of my favorite movies, period. Um, if any of you are listening to this that have not seen it, one, we're sorry for all the spoiling. Two,
Yeah.
go see
Spoiler
it.
alert. Yeah.
Go
Go
see
see
it.
Black Hawk Down if you haven't.
Yeah, this is. Oh, by the way, I probably should have mentioned. So my particular 4K Blu-ray comes with two different cuts of the film, and so I watched the theatrical cut, but there is an extended cut. The extended cut only lasts a couple more minutes, so there's not like too much difference between the two versions as far as I can tell. So
I don't know if my library has the extended cut or not because I had to borrow the CV from my library. I don't know if it was like the extended cut or not.
yeah, but yeah, so.
Mm.
Yeah, this movie is fantastic. Everybody, you should all go see it.
It's incredible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Movie Morris Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more movie madness. Like the video if you liked it. Comment down below what you thought of this episode, what you thought of this podcast episode, and so on. Follow the socials, and we'll see you all in the next episode. And happy belated